Hey, what's up, you guys? Hadn't done a recap recently. I was out of town, but we are back, so we're kind of gonna do a double whammy on this. So we'll start with SmackDown. Thankfully, I was able to watch it. So let's get to it. We started SmackDown with Cody Rhodes wanting Kevin Owens because now it's gotten personal. Cody demands him, but Nick Aldis tells him, I suspended him. It's better off if he's not there. And we see a little bit of tension between Cody and Nick Aldis, and Cody is pissed. We had our first tournament for the number one contender for the Women's United States Champion. The winners of the tournament will be hosted at Saturday night's main event, where the first ever U.S. champion will be crowned there. We had Bayley, BFAB, and Candice LeRae, and Bayley would take the win in this triple threat match. LA Knight calls out an open challenge for the U.S. title. We have Legado de Fatisma, Humberto taking shots at LA Knight. Turns into the match. LA Knight would annihilate him crazily. And then after he takes the win, what do you know? Shinsuke Nakamura is back. I thought he was going to be back a little bit sooner. And at the same time, I wasn't even sure if he was coming back, because I know they hinted it for a while, but he's back and he has a new look, and honestly, I fucks with the new look. It's very heel-like and very dark. Almost kind of gives me Condemned vibes from Heels, if y'all have ever checked out that show. And then, of course, we get a bloodline brawl because they still looking for a fifth member, and before the segment with LA Knight, Sammy did ask LA Knight to be the fifth member, which I don't know why he would ask him, which turned out to be a fat no. And then we get a brawl with OG Bloodline and New Bloodline, and then after a face-off with Roman and Jacob, fucking Bronson Reed is the fifth member. I know he's Samoan, but I kind of already understand the concept they're going with this, due to the fact that Seth straight up told Solo that he will not join forces with the wannabe Roman Reigns, and we all know how Solo takes things, so of course he was gonna jab back at him by taking his arch nemesis to join his bloodline, which honestly I feel like it's probably only going to be for War Games, but we'll see how that plays out. We get a tag team champion match with Motor City Machine Guns and the Street Profits, and ends up ending with Tommaso Ciampa beating up everybody and beating up Gargano. So we're definitely getting this heel Ciampa, but of course Motor City Machine Gun would retain. We get our women's championship title match, which is Naomi and Nia Jax, with a bunch of interference in this match from Candice LeRae, Tiffany, and of course Nia would take the win. And yeah, that's everything that happened. Raw. And if you saw some of my videos of my live stream, we saw some pretty exciting things. And of course, this was a pre-recorded Raw, so there were a lot of spoilers out there. I got spoiled, but I still enjoyed the show and still was excited of the things I saw. So we start off the night with basically now our setup women's War Games. We have Nia, Liv, Raquel, Candice, and Tiffany. Interesting setup because you have a speed champion, the women's world champion, and Miss Money in the Bank, and then you have Raquel, who's the muscle. Interesting lineup we have here. And then on our other team, we have Jade and Bianca, we have Io, we have Naomi, and then we get the glorious return of Rhea Ripley. I know they made it seem like she was going to be out for months, but if a lot of you don't know about orbital fractures, I've had one myself too in the past. It's actually this year. Orbital fractures take 3 weeks. Well, it's a broken bone, so it takes about overall 6 to 8 weeks, like a normal broken bone would heal. However, in the process of healing, you're not supposed to do anything horrendous or strenuous for at least the first 3 weeks. So you can't really do much. You can't even sneeze with your nose. You have to sneeze with your mouth open, and it's really fucking awkward. And of course, you have to take rest. They prescribe you pain meds, but it's mainly healing on your own. You could also get surgery too for this. So I don't know if she got surgery or not. But it's a very quick surgery where you're in and out in 30 minutes. But the same process goes. Nothing horrendous or strenuous for the first 3 weeks. Not even heavy lifting either. Well, I mean, that counts. And then you can start resuming normal activity. But of course, doing it with caution. And I'm sure during her time being out, she did take those necessary precautions, and they gave it time. And I'm assuming maybe she came back sooner because she got cleared from the doctor that she was okay, as well as taking other precautions in her wrestling. And of course, she is wearing a protective face mask, so that definitely helps in that process to protect her eye. So we get a brawl with the with the women's War Games setup, and I'm honestly excited for it. It's pretty stacked with talent. I know a lot of people are not really happy with this matchup because you have the heels and the baby faces, and the baby faces are all dominant forces. But putting that all aside, it is a really good stacked match with talent. So regardless of the outcome, the match will still be good no matter what. Me personally, I want the babyface side to win because that's just me. I know the heel side needs a win since they haven't really been doing good with them as champions. They're not even good champions anyway to begin with. But besides the point, they really would need that win to build their credibility as champions and also doing it clean if humanly possible. At this point, at least just get one clean win. We have our mixed tag team match with Rey Mysterio and Zelina Vega versus Chad Gable and Ivy Nile. I thought this was pretty interesting, especially I was very intrigued with the fact that Chad Gable grabbed Zelina Vega's leg. I was like, I know this man ain't gonna do anything. And it ended, of course, with the correct winners, in my opinion, of Rey Mysterio and Zelina Vega. I feel like they haven't gotten a win in a while, especially Zelina Vega getting that good push that she deserves. I feel like they need to further her character into a title scene, whether they do the women's Intercontinental Champion or she gets a shot at the title later down the line. But I feel like this was a good push for her. I know for American Made, they kind of got thrown back in the shuffle for a while. But we'll see how this feud plays out. It seems like they're building it pretty decently, but that's just me. We'll see where it goes from there. And then we get our IC title match with the banger after banger Sheamus with the current champion Braun Breaker. And this was honestly a banger match. I was very who's gonna win, because it wasn't really it's one of those you have your idea of who's gonna win. But in this case, I wouldn't have been mad if it was either. But the match would end in a DQ because Ludwig Kaiser would get involved. That was just very shocking to see. If you look at my reaction video to that, I was genuinely freaked the fuck out because I did not think he was going to insert himself in here. But this possibly sets up a triple threat match for the IC title. And hopefully we do get that, whether it be at War Games, Saturday night's main event, or even on the premiere of Raw on Netflix. We'll see, because that is definitely a PLE match-worthy event. And I'm probably out of order on this, but we also did the segment with Gunther and Ludwig. Gunther telling Ludwig that he doesn't need to speak for him. He needs to make a name for himself, and Gunther will handle his own business. And then attempts to try to sneak up on Damian Priest and tackle him. And of course, he'd get tackled back. Damian Priest telling Gunther that you may be the king in the ring general, but out on the streets, Damien's the king. And honestly, they are building Damien so fucking good. I love what they're doing with him, making a person that Gunther possibly can't beat. That redemption right there. It's hey, I lost to you once, and now he's coming back, and he's coming back strong. Whereas Gunther is looking like he's leaning towards a face turn. But I really like this build-up they are doing. Granted, War Games is already around the corner. I would really hope Damian Priest takes the win, but more than likely Gunther might retain, so we'll see how it plays out. And then we get our tag team match with the War Raiders with Dom and Carlito. And as expected, I felt like they were going to lose, but I feel like it was the setup for Finn and JD to come out and do normal Judgment Day things. So it played out the way they did, and I feel like we are getting a Dom and Finn feud very soon. We also had our Judgment Day segment also in the locker room with Finn taking over, taking the weight off of Liv. That was very brief. And then we get to our main event, the rematch of Bronson Reed and Seth Rollins. And this match would end, of course, with bloodline interference. Bronson Reed took the win, so we'll see if Seth is now going to join the OG bloodline or not. We even had a segment earlier in the episode where Seth wouldn't mind teaming up with Jay, Jimmy, and Sammy, but he will not team up with Roman Reigns ever again. But that covers both recaps. Let me know what y'all thought.